right, this is John Kohler with GrowingYourGreens.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. Today I'm here in Davie, Florida, and I'm at the property of Natural High Farm and Gardens. And on this property here, there's like 3 or 4 different businesses, like a little herb shop, apothecary, maybe like some kind of like restaurant and a fruit stand. And also, more importantly, I am here for the Tree Amigos Growers, which you guys could see is like the farm behind me, but over on this side, you guys can see there's a huge nursery behind me. So before I go into the nursery to share with you guys all the amazing plants they sell, we're gonna go back into the food forest, because what the food forest does, it shows you how you can use the plants inside their nursery in your landscape. Transform your front yard into an edible food forest with edible vegetable plants and of course some fruits as well. This place does not specialize in any necessarily fruit trees. While they do have a few, there's plenty of other places doing fruit trees. The real reason why I'm here is more important than fruit trees, in my opinion. It's the namesake of my YouTube channel called Growing Your Greens. I want you guys to grow your leafy greens and eat them every single day. Leafy greens are the most nutritious, nutrient-dense foods on the entire planet, with the least amount of calories. And they're so good for you. They're gonna improve your life. You're probably gonna live longer because of it. And unfortunately, you know, when you live here in South Florida, you can't grow lettuce year round, and everybody goes to Costco and buys a spring mix and the baby organic spinach and crap when it's shipped all the way over from California or other parts of the country. When all you guys in Florida here in South Florida are so lucky, you could grow some amazing trees that look like a tree or a big bush. You could go outside your front door, pick those greens, eat them raw or cook them up every single day of the year, and then you can save tons of money because you want to be buying stupid spring mix imported all the way from California that costs a ton of money at whole paycheck. Anyways, let's go back into the food forest and check out what they're growing here and what you could grow in your front yard. So this tree literally like grows like a weed. I don't even think they water it here. It's just basically the natural rainfall. It has deep tap roots when grown from seed. That's why you don't want to buy a moringa from a cutting that has a weak root system. You want to grow it from seed, which is what they sell here. And they have the flowers here, which are pretty and edible. That's good. And then to harvest the leaves, depending on how you're going to use the leaves, like the lower leaves here, you can snap off the whole branch. And then you could go and just like take it all off, and then you could like cook this. You could also juice these. You could eat these raw, but they're a lot more stronger tasting. So if you want to eat them raw, what I would do is I would come up to this and I would come and maybe pick like these little tender shoots right here. And then these would go in salads. These are so delicious. A lot more mild tasting. They still have a little bite, a really strong bite, but these are like the anti-cancer isothiocyanates in there that are really healthy for you. I mean, there's comparisons online. You can see like Moringa is more nutritious than kale, for example. You could buy Moringa powder, but why buy powders that have been harvested, dried, and then you have to buy it at great expense when you could just literally grow a tree? These trees, like, they have a problem keeping these under control because they're super tall and they just go nuts. This is probably the #1 tree you have to grow if you live here in South Florida that you can eat from year round. All right, guys, so we're still walking on our way to the food forest in the back, but I want to stop here and share with you guys this. We got like 3 different varieties of basil. We got like African blue basil, I believe, and you guys can see all the bees and birds and whatever coming around it, like the insects. They will attract pollinators. If you want to make more leaves, just cut off all the blooms. If you want to learn how to use these blooms, link it down below. I like to actually infuse these into juices, which will give it a really nice flavor, super medicinal, all these basils. And you know, for a lot of parts of the country, the basil is just an annual. You grow the basil in the summer when it's really hot, and in the wintertime when it's too cold, the basils don't make it. That's why if you try to go to buy basil at Whole Foods in the refrigerated section, it's often like wilted and black because it doesn't like cold storage. It loves the heat of the summer here in South Florida. So literally you can plant a basil once, get the right variety. It'll grow year after year. Look at these. These are like little shrubs and bushes here. This is actually a holy basil, a Krishna basil. It kind of has like a purple leaf, and you can see it's like literally grown into like a little tree here. This is another kind of holy basil in the back here as well. So yeah, I mean, here in South Florida, you should never have to buy basil at the store. And if you see somebody buying basil at the store, you should laugh at them because they just don't know that you should be growing it, because you'll have like basil forever, literally. All right, guys, so this is the beginning of the food forest. And you guys can see this amazing tree right here behind me. This is like one tree. Look at this. They got one stalk and then it kind of branches up. I mean, it looks like it could be just some kind of ornamental tree in your yard, but what this is basically tree spinach or chaya. This must be cooked to be eaten, or it is highly toxic. So, but you could have basically cooked greens, you know, every single day of the year. Look at this. This is beautiful. So you could just come here and you would just get some scissors and you just want to come and just cut the leaves off. Right, and then you could steam this. We're gonna steam these in the Instant Pot tonight and cook them up just like spinach. They're super nutritious, very delicious, and the cool thing about this plant is like once you buy it once, you literally just take some of the cuttings off the plant, you stick it in the ground, and then it reroots and then grows more. So these plants are very prolific, and you'd have lots of greens to eat every single time of year. Once again, these ones are used for cooked only. So the next edible, basically, tree you could grow, basically it's this. It's like, as far as I'm aware, this looks like it's one plant. It literally was planted once, it grew up, it fell over, and then it made all these offshoots. So you can see all the offshoots, or the stems, the branches coming up. And this is so massive, guys. Like, this is the best plant for South Florida for your lettuce substitute, right? You could eat it raw, you could eat it cooked. This is known, I call it the Bele plant, or El Hibiscus manuhat, or edible hibiscus. When I'm harvesting it, I just harvest like the little small tender leaves like this, like the ones just coming out for eating raw. It's a really nice, mild flavor. Little bit gelatinous, not anywhere near Malabar spinach, but it's super amazing. You could also, of course, cook this as well. Once again, very easy to propagate. You basically just take cuttings of it and you stick it in the ground and they'll grow new roots. And look at this, this thing is so huge, it's all over the place, man. Imagine just having this in your front yard, right? You'd never have to buy lettuce from Costco or Whole Foods. Again, save tons of money, super easy. All right, guys, so we're standing here in the food forest and there's so many different like crops like around us. This is the pandan grass. Here they're growing the Yacon, which actually I like a lot. Looks like it's doing very well. I grow this in Northern California myself, but it looks like even healthier grown here in South Florida. They got some figs, but what I really want to cover for you guys are some of the most valuable food forest crops, in my opinion, that they're growing here that are super easy to grow, that can grow year round and provide you guys with more greens to eat. So let's check it out. All right, so the next one I'm not super familiar with because I don't grow it, but this is the Surinam spinach that I have seen before. You guys can see it's another nice, beautiful plant. Whether it grows in one place or whether it reseeds on itself and comes up on its own, it'll grow year-round easily despite the heat. Of course, another one I love a lot that I grow a lot of myself, even in Las Vegas in excess of 100 degrees. Actually, today was over 100 degrees in Vegas. It's this guy right here. This is the longevity spinach. So I find the longevity spinach tends to like a little bit more sun than the next spinach I'll share with you guys, which is the Okinawan spinach that, in my opinion, and based on my experience, tends to prefer more shade. All right, guys, next one is the Okinawan spinach. I prefer this more than the longevity spinach because it actually has like a purplish tinge on the bottom, so there's more anthocyanins in here. If you have a nice shady spot, for example, they got this underneath a fruit tree. I think this is a lychee tree. It grows really well next to the coffee berry. You guys can see the coffee berry plant right there, just loaded up with coffee berries. But this really thrives in like a more shaded spot. And you guys can see this is like just a big mass of the Okinawan spinach. So we're gonna just go ahead and harvest a leaf here for you guys. Try it. It's been a while since I've had Okinawan because I grow longevity at home. I mean, to me, once again, that's a very neutral flavor and actually has a nice kind of like hit. I don't know, I'd say it's like, I don't know, it's a really unique flavor that's like no other. I mean, I really like this actually more than longevity, but in Vegas, like the longevity does way better and this does not do as well. But of course, it depends on your context. You know, if you have a nice shady spot, do the Okinawan. If you have a more sunny spot, do the longevity. All right, next up, guys, we got another, this one's kind of more of an annual that reseeds on its own in Las Vegas for me. Maybe here it'll grow year round, maybe it won't. But nonetheless, this is called the Jewels of Opar. It's kind of like the other one I just showed you, the Surinam spinach. But yeah, there's all these unique greens that you guys need to learn about, right? Everybody's eating lettuce, but you need to adopt the greens that are gonna grow in the climate that you've adapted and are living in, right? That's why I'm really a big fan of growing this, because it grows year round compared to like normal lettuce that, yes, you can grow in the, you know, in the fall season, which is the summer season for normal crops. But why grow those crops you can only eat for the winter time here in South Florida, you know, like the northern crops like lettuces and things, when you could grow these year round, right? That's definitely a nice mild tasting leafy green. All right, guys, so it's really hard for me to say which one is my favorite green. I would say buy all of them and see which one you like, and that's the amazing thing, because they have a food forest. You know, you could come with one of the employees here and, you know, they could supervise you, and maybe they'll even harvest a leaf so you guys could try them. But, you know, this is one of my favorites to grow in Las Vegas. Easily handles 100 degrees. This is known as the Egyptian spinach or Molohika, and this is the common variety that is most common, right? And these are nice, fairly large leaves. They're really neutral flavor. It's related to like the okra plant. It also makes these little pods. When the pods are young and green, you could eat them, and they're actually better than okra. They're not really mucilaginous. And when the pods get more mature, then you save them for seed. So we're gonna go ahead and try this. Once again, to me, this is a nice like salad lettuce substitute. So like combine half of these with half of the Bele or the Kiko's crump, or even take some of the jewels of Opar leaves. You can make a whole nice tropical salad here in South Florida, have your own tropical salad spring mix instead of buying the one at the stupid stores, right? Now, the coolest thing here is that on this trip, I learned about a very new Egyptian spinach that I didn't know about before. I know there's like a red stem Egyptian spinach, which makes round little pods. I know there's this kind that's a regular Egyptian spinach that makes like long okra-like pods. But the new kind of Egyptian spinach that they have here that I'm so excited about is this one. This is actually the large leaf Egyptian spinach, guys. Look at the difference between these. These are nice large leaves compared to the other ones, which are pretty big leaves. But then these are also glossy leaves, and they're like a different color green, right? So I was given the go ahead to harvest one leaf so I could show you guys. Look at how the difference in size between these, and like this is like a nice large one on this plant. Look at the difference in size, guys. These are amazing. You could use these for like wraps. Put some hummus in there, put some guacamole, put some salsa, right? Roll it up and then eat it. And you know what? It tastes pretty much just like this one. A very neutral, mild flavor. This is one amazing plant, and this is one I'm actually gonna be taking home with me today, because I don't have this one yet. So I'm so excited when I learn about new plants. And you know, that's what they're doing here at Tree Amigos, man. They're searching all over to get the best crops that'll grow here in Florida. Yes, even in the summertime. Actually, on their website, if you go to their website, treeamigosgrowers.com, you can find, they have a planting guide that say, what can you plant in June? What can you plant in July? What can you plant in August? So that you can be successful, right? Don't rely on the stupid big box stores that sell you like Bonnie plant starts that are not grown for Florida, that are grown somewhere else. They try to bring them in Florida, and maybe they're gonna grow, maybe they won't, right? Everything they're selling here is guaranteed to grow because they've tried it, they've grown it, and then they're gonna sell it to you guys so that you can be successful instead of fail by going to other nurseries that are not selling the right climate appropriate crops for South Florida. All right, guys, so the next green, another one of my favorites that I am growing in Puerto Rico also, and I grew for many years in Las Vegas by growing it outside and then bring it in during the winter time. That being said, Katuk, from my experience, did not like the dry heat. It really likes a humid environment. It could handle 100 degrees, but it really suffered because it just kind of barely stayed alive because it didn't like the dry heat. It really loves the tropics. And as you guys can see, it is really loving South Florida here. Look at this. This is one amazing, like literally bush. And once again, you take sticks off this, you stick it into the ground, they root, and then you could have more. And the Katuk is amazing. So like on this, I would just basically take this whole branch and go like this, and just, you'd have all the leaves now that you can just dump in a salad, right? I'm not gonna dump in a salad today because I'm just gonna throw them in my mouth. So as I'm chewing this up, I'm getting the most like nutty, leafy green flavor. I have a friend who says, it tastes like peanut butter. I don't know that I'd go that far, but it's definitely the nuttiest green you will ever taste. I mean, I'd prefer to eat this any day over lettuce alone. That being said, while you can eat this raw in salads, you definitely don't want to overdo the Katuk. In high amounts, such as when you concentrate it in juices, can be toxic. You know, so you may want to be a bit more cautious with this than some of the other greens that I've shared with you guys in this episode today. Nonetheless, it tastes amazing. Oh, and the other thing I want to show you guys real quick, besides the leaves that I eat that are delicious, if you really want to get hardcore, you could just break off the little tips, right? If you break off the tips, remove the leaves, this is known as like tropical asparagus. It's nice and tender, reminds me of eating asparagus, like the young growth that you maybe get up north. But yeah, the tips as well as the leaves are delicious and edible, and this is another one that you guys must absolutely grow. I've been to places here like the Echo, link down below to that, where they literally use this as a Katuk hedge. They grow this along like a border to keep like animals out, and it's just one long hedge of all the amazing Katuk that is completely edible. You know, what I think to myself, for people that live in South Florida, is why don't you guys have some of these edible greens? You could use these as hedge. You could use them as like beautiful plants, like the Chaya you guys saw that was a nice shape to it. It's all edible, so you guys can stop buying the stupid greens imported from California and eat locally, eat more nutritious crops that are healthy for you, that are just gonna go year round without you. And that's the other thing. All these crops I'm sharing with you guys, these are like pest resistant crops. Like they don't spray pesticides, organic or chemicals here, although they only support organic agriculture here. They encourage you guys to improve your soil, which this soil is really sand. So they are doing this all growing in sand. Yes, the same soil you guys have in your backyard or front yard, right? With the right soil amendments, the right compost that they can teach you guys here, you can be successful, even more successful than they are. All right, guys, so another cool new crop to me, and I've heard of this before in different circles that I travel in, but this is the first time I think I'm seeing it. This is basically a taro leaf, but this taro is not necessarily grown for the tuber. It is actually grown for the leaves. This was given to them by a chef from his country, that basically he uses this to roll up into leaves, a chiffonade, and make little designs out of. This does need to be cooked. It is high in oxalates, but you know, once again, when you come to Tree Amigos Nursery, they're gonna have some of these rare crops that they've sourced from their friends, sourced from chefs, sourced from all over, that are proven to do good here in South Florida because they've grown them out. They know what happens. They know the pests that the plant may get, and this can be prone to some white flies if you don't have good soil and whatnot. So this might not be the first thing you wanna grow, but unless maybe you've eaten this as a child and you wanna grow this, they got it. But I would definitely recommend some of the other ones that are a lot easier to grow. But this is definitely one that I want to grow because, once again, for me, it's all about growing diversity, guys. I want you guys to grow one of each of these things. You know why? Because one of them might not make it, two of them might not make it, but guess what? The three that make it, they're huge and you can't even control them, and you're gonna have so much food, you're not gonna know what to do with them except share with your neighbors, share cuttings with your friends down the block so that everybody could grow more food and become sustainable on this planet where we are all addicted to the supermarket. We are all consumers, and you know, if you start growing your own food, now you are a producer so that you can produce your own food and not have to consume as much. And I think if more people were producers on the planet, the world would be a much better place. All right, guys, so while I've showed you mostly leafy greens that you can mostly eat raw, with the exception of the Chaya and the Taro that you must cook before eating, they also have the Cuban oregano, which is kind of used as an herb. You wouldn't want to make a salad out of this because it's going to burn your mouth. It's hot and spicy. But this would be great to put in like when you cook your beans, to give it a nice aroma and nice flavor, right? And once again, if you guys are buying oregano in the store, like, look at this. This thing kind of just goes crazy, and you could have tons of herbs and spices to eat, you know, like the basil I showed you, or like the Cuban oregano. These are some amazing things that you should definitely take home if you come to Tree Amigos Nursery. All right, guys, so that's all the food forest tour I'm gonna give you guys of today. I mean, they have so many more things growing, and I'd be here like for 2 more hours going over everything. I'm gonna head up to the front nursery and show you guys maybe like 1 or 2 more plants, but then I wanna show you guys the nursery plants that you guys can buy and bring home. But before I head up to the front, I wanna show you guys this double butterfly pea from, I think, Thailand. This butterfly pea makes actually 2 flowers. So you guys know butterfly pea flowers, you basically could dry these and then put them in water, then it turns the water really nice purple. It's gone kind of viral on YouTube and all these things. But what people don't know is that you can also take the flowers and just eat them. It's a really nice flavor that, you know, this would be an excellent addition to add onto the top of your salad to make your salad look pretty. Add some anthocyanins, which are really healthy for you. That's what makes the butterfly, pea flowers purple, which is one of the components that I'm most interested in eating because there's a lot of research on the benefits of anthocyanins. All right, guys, check it out, man. When I come to farms, I harvest my dinner too. So I'll be eating all these Chaya greens that I steam up in the Instant Pot. Because when I travel, you know, and I don't have my garden, I like to eat locally. So I'm so glad for a place like Tree Amigos Nursery that will allow me to harvest some of their greens so that I could be fed tonight. All right, guys, so now I'm going to share with you guys the Tree Amigos Nursery here, which is behind me. This is like a big kind of like Aztec looking like facade, which is kind of cool. And we're going to go inside and check out some of the perennial vegetables that you guys can buy. Now, you guys already saw in this episode like how they look when they're grown out a couple years, right? But now I want to show you guys what the plant starts to look like, and actually they're very affordable prices. So let's head in the nursery and check out what they're selling and what you could buy so they can set you up for success. All right, guys, so right when I walk in this nursery, I instantly knew that this is like my kind of place because they have this sign that I think everybody should stop at before they walk in the nursery. And I want you guys to study this sign. It is very important. It's called the soil food web, right? This is how nature makes its own fertilizer without buying miracle crap in a bag, right? This is how nature works. The trees grow, the trees drop the leaves, and then, you know, they degrade down into compost. You get organic matter, then you have fungi and mycorrhizae and protozoa and nematodes, mites, spiders, centipedes, earthworms, ants, millipedes, all these different creatures in the soil eating up the different, compost, and then some of these guys eat other guys, and then they keep pooping out nutrients, which then allows the system to work, which then makes nutrients for your plants, so you don't gotta sit there and put fertilizer every single week or month like some people do, right? Once you get the system built up, you do mulch, you do compost, and you buy some of this different amendments they have here, especially because you have crappy soil here, you have sand, literally. You need to bring in a lot of organic matter, and they got all the bag soils you'll need to buy to be successful. You could set up your own soil food web so you don't have to continually fertilize it, right? This is an automatic system. Once again, I showed you guys in this episode the trees that are automatic. You plant the tree and then it grows into a huge tree. You got leaves every single day that you guys saw me harvest some of them that I'm gonna be eating tonight, right? But more importantly, besides just buying the trees or the plants to grow, you need to make sure you're set up for success. Don't just buy the trees. Oh, I'm digging a hole, planting in the sand, it's gonna be successful. No, it's not gonna make it because you don't have organic matter. You don't have the right system so that you will succeed. That's what they could show you here. They could set you up so that you have all the different components of this food soil web system so that your crops will be literally self-sustaining. All right, guys, so you guys can see I'm sitting literally on bags of soil, right? This is very important. I know a lot of you guys want to be cheap and you want to avoid buying the soil here because it's probably a bit more expensive than the crappy soil you'd get at a big box store. But if you guys buy the crappy soil at the big box store, you're not going to be successful because they're using a lot of wood-based materials that are not fully broken down. They're not going to provide your plants the nutrients they need to succeed. So that's why I'm going to tell you guys, if you guys come here to buy and invest in your plants, invest in the right plants, I want you guys also to invest in the right soil. They have soil mixers and different things here. They make their own soil blends so that you will once again succeed in growing in your South Florida sand, right? This is called the Garden Mix Complete. It has things like the compost, peat moss, coconut coir, worm castings, like different kinds of dolomite, kelp, langbentonite, shrimp meal, and soil microorganisms, right? This is a very good mix. I wish I had a farm or a nursery near me selling something this high quality, guys. So very important, along with your starts, get some of the right soil that'll encourage your plants to succeed instead of fail. All right, guys, so you guys can see I'm here in the nursery and they just have tables and tables and tables of tables of different plant starts. And here's the thing, guys. They're gonna sell you guys here at the nursery, right? What's gonna grow in this season, right? They're not selling different kinds of tender greens that are good for the fall or the winter time here in South Florida in the middle of summer. You know, in the middle of summer, they're selling you the plants that you could plant in June, July, and August and be successful at, right? Very important. Most nurseries will just try to sell the same things year round. Some of them are even importing plants from outside the state or even up north. They're not going to perform well in South Florida. You guys are very special here in South Florida because you got some more mild tropical weather than all parts of the country. That's why you guys are probably living here, because you love the heat, the humidity, right? And likewise, the plants they're selling here are designed to grow here in the heat and humidity without you. You guys saw what they look like in the food forest. So let's go over now and show you guys what they look like when they're small, because you guys saw what they look like when they're big, as well as show you guys a few more plants that are my favorite that they're selling here. All right, guys, first crop I want to share with you guys is the Okinawan spinach. This is the spinach that you guys saw growing underneath the big lychee. And when you guys come to select a plant, I want you guys to look for a nice plant, right? That's nice and tall, nice and big. You guys can see they're using some pots that the roots are already coming out. That's actually a good sign that the roots are not being root bound. So they just come out of the pot. You can like literally plant this right in the ground. It'll take off and it'll cover a whole area, right? So literally one of these plants just keep growing. If you want to make more of these plants, you literally just cut this off, take off the leaves, leave like a few leaves at the top, stick it in dirt, and then it'll grow another one, right? And so yeah, this is the Okinawan spinach, great for the shadier spots in your yard. These are at present time, and price are subject to change, $6, which is an amazing deal. Next one up is the longevity spinach. This is $5, so this is a little bit less. I personally would spring for the extra dollar and get the Okinawan. But if you have a more sunnier spot, the longevity spinach will be good. It's known to maybe even control diabetes or help with blood sugar issues, or maybe cholesterol. They say a cholesterol lowering plant. But yeah, another one that's gonna grow really easy, nice plants. And on these, I'll give you guys a tip, right? You guys wanna look for one that has more upshoots. So you guys can see this has like one main growth stem. This one has 3 growth stems, 1, 2, and then 3. This is a much better deal than this one because there's 3 points where there will be new leaf growth, so you're gonna actually have more leaves more quickly. All right, guys, so I'm always learning about new plants or more importantly, new names for plants. And actually this is, they call it the Callaloo Guyana. And as far as I learned today, the callaloo is just kind of a name for green and maybe some Caribbean countries. But to me, this is known as the Malabar spinach. So when I was on their website, I'm like, oh man, they got all these new varieties I don't know. Maybe it's just basically they're calling them something else. So maybe they should also have the Latin names on there, because I would see that and like, oh, okay, that's Malabar spinach. I didn't get to show you guys this in the garden. They actually do have some growing somewhere around here that I saw. But yeah, this is another one. This is more mucilaginous, and it grows like a vine. So if you have like a hurricane fence, instead of growing passion fruit, which they also sell, growing this up the, hurricane fencing would be really nice because it would kind of fill in nice, and every one of these leaves are edible. In addition, when these are at the end of the season, they'll kind of make these little like berries. The berries are completely edible. They're rich in anthocyanins. I would just encourage you guys to mush the berries up in your mouth. They will stain, but then like spit out the seeds and then use those to replant. All right, guys, so if you guys come here, you guys have to buy this plant. Don't leave without buying this. They call it the Chief Kubu's Prize, or the edible hibiscus. I call it Bele. This is the main one that I grow in Las Vegas. It handles over 100 days of 100 degrees. So think, oh, I'm not gonna be able to grow stuff in Florida, it's too hot. No, it's hotter in Vegas, and it's definitely more dry. And the ones here actually grow better than mine because they kind of leaf out, and you do a lot more upshoots in mine, which tends to grow a lot taller. But then I cut them down, and then I basically take them for a permanent vacation in Puerto Rico, where I've been sticking in the sticks and then root them. So now we have like not quite a field full of this now, but I call it the Bele. But these are amazing plants, really excellent lettuce substitute. One of my favorites, and it's really gonna do good here. These are $12, a really affordable price, literally a one-time purchase to have greens for the rest of your life, provided you take care of the plant. Now, aside from the Chief Kubu's edible hibiscus or Bele, they also have this variety, which is the ant lilies. Now, if you come here for the ant lilies, and these are probably gonna get sold out pretty quick after I make my video, most of the ant lilies are the green, but there's some of them that have more purplish traits. When you come here, I want you guys to only buy the purplish ones. They're gonna hate me for this because everybody's gonna come in, I want the purple ant lilies, and they're like, oh, sorry, we're sold out because we only got the green ones. Hey, the green ones are still good, but I love the purple because of the purple leaves have the anthocyanins, and some of these will express different traits. I think currently they have like 2 out here for sale, so I'm gonna definitely take one of them home myself today. But yeah, I want you guys to get these plants because they're gonna perform really good, like you guys saw the huge bush that I showed you guys a little bit earlier. All right, guys, so the other tree that you guys saw when I walked right into the food forest was the Chaya, and I was saddened to see they don't actually have any Chaya plants available for you guys to buy, but they will have available as cuttings or something in the future, so you definitely wanna ask for them because that's another one of the top performers here in South Florida. I mean, I have Chaya on my property in Puerto Rico. When I bought my property, it was just kind of a wild weed that grows. I mean, that's how hardy some of these vegetables can be. Of course, next up, also in the hibiscus family or related, we got the standard roselle, or they call it Caribbean sorrel. This is more of an annual that you plant. It'll go to seed, drop the seeds, and then regrow. And then, that's pretty good. It has like more of a lemony flavor, whereas the other Chief Kubu's and the ant lilies have more of a lettuce type flavor. And then if you're gonna get the Caribbean sorrel, they also have the cranberry hibiscus, which I would call the false roselle. This has a very similar flavor to the standard roselle, but it has the purple leaves, a lot more like decorative, looks like more oak style, and also they're purple, but they taste pretty much the same. This one can be a little bit more perennial than the standard Roselle. So let's see, that one's $4, this one's $5. I would definitely spring for the extra dollar to buy the $5 plant instead of the $4 one myself. And yeah, this is another one, in my opinion, you should definitely take home. You know, you add a few leaves of this along with all the other greens, and it'll add a nice like lemony flavor without having to squeeze lemon on your salad to make it taste good. All right, another one that I didn't get to show you that they don't have currently because they're kind of redoing their food forest is this guy. This is known as the cassava or yucca. So this one makes like an edible tuber that like a lot of the world actually eats as a staple crop in South America. In addition, the leaves can be eaten if properly leached and cooked. That's very important. You got to do it properly. Look it up online how to do that if you guys want to eat the leaves. To me, this is a very decorative plant, right? It looks like it's not edible. And of course, this is very easy to propagate as well. You take cuttings from the stems, you stick it in, and then it actually will grow new upgrowth. So at Puerto Rico property, I got some stick cuttings, stuck them in like almost dry dirt, and just with the rain, without any irrigation, they basically rebloom when there's like, I think we did also Chaya and another one, and they actually didn't come back. So these are very hardy, can withhandle, you know, like not that much water, right? Even if you're not on irrigation. Of course, all the other plants, you want to make sure they get enough water, whether it's raining regularly or whether you need to have an irrigation system if it's not raining enough. As the last couple of days I've been here in Florida, it's rained every single day. So in this case, this time of year, you wouldn't have to be watering that much at all. All right, guys, next up is the Moringa, and another one that you have to buy. That being said, it's $12, and it's like, would you rather have like 2 of the Chief Kubus or 1 Moringa? And I would say get them all, you know. And the most important thing, guys, when you guys buy Moringa, you guys don't understand. I visited many Moringa growers over the many years. Links down below to some of my videos on Moringa growers that I visited in the past, if you haven't seen those. But basically, you want to grow Moringa only from seed. While you can do Moringa from cuttings, you know, on a seed, there's going to be a nice deep tap root. So it's going to be a lot more resistant and survive and be, you know, less prone to blowing over when there's strong winds or whatever. And, you know, if you do a cutting and get roots from the cutting, then the roots are a lot more shallow and they're not going to, you know, the plant will not be as strong, basically. So yeah, all their plants here for Moringa are from seeds, not from cuttings, and they're looking really nice. These guys do take a little bit of a long time to grow, so that's reflected in the price, you know, how long it takes to grow to get them to size. So these are of nice size, like basically pushing 2+ feet tall on some of them. Of course, on these, I would look for the ones that have the most foliage or the most leaf material and are the tallest and have the most, you know, thickest girth on the stem here. All right, guys, so besides a lot of the different perennial greens, as well as a lot of herbs that I'm not covering in this video, they have a lot more that I can't just cover because I'll be here all night and they're already closed, actually. But I did want to cover this. They have maybe like 4 different kinds of banana varieties at present time, and I really want to show you guys this because I hadn't seen this before in my life. This is a variegated banana. It's kind of more of a dwarfish plant. It's called the Zebrina X. To me, these leaves are beautiful. I have lots of bananas on my property in Puerto Rico, but I don't have a variegated variety. They don't know what the flavor of the banana tastes like that these grow, but I would just grow these for the foliage alone because it's just like beautiful to have this next to your house, right? And that's what you're gonna get when you come to Tree Amigos Nursery. You're gonna get rare crops such as this that can not only look beautiful, but also provide you with food. So why grow a regular banana when you guys could have a variegated Zebrina X? Of course, they have other bananas that's really popular, such as the red Daca, which is a Cuban red banana that even tastes like maybe a little bit hint of berries or something, and has a nice red coloring. All right, guys, so the last plant I'm gonna share with you guys today is honestly the Egyptian spinach or Molokia, which is one of my favorites for sure. I mean, definitely best starter from seeds, but if you don't want to get the seeds because the seeds are, you know, a little bit hard to germinate actually. You need to heat up the seeds in hot water, let them soak overnight, and then you could plant them in the garden. But these plants are looking really nice. They already have seed pods on them, so you're already gonna get seeds when you buy this plant. And of course, some of these even have the young pods that you can actually just harvest and eat, and they're nice and delicious. And of course, the leaves are edible. Now, because this has been kind of like in a pot for so long, the leaves are a lot smaller than the ones you saw out in the food forest. You know, when the plant's healthier, the leaves are gonna be a lot larger. But if you guys come to buy the Egyptian spinach, you definitely want to ask them for the large leaf variety, which actually I don't see on display today. So hopefully in the future, they'll have a lot of those because actually that's the one I want to take home myself. So I really love the ethos here at Tree Amigos Nursery. And it's like, it says, feed the soil that feeds you. And it says Tree Amigos Grower Cover Crop Kits. specialty formulated to protect and improve South Florida soil. So basically what cover crops do is that actually they can add nutrients and bring benefits to your soil. So say you don't want to grow in the wintertime here, you know, you could actually have a cover crop that'll actually send nutrients down and then feed your soil. Also, some cover crops can have other benefits, such as suppressing weeds, such as conserving evaporator loss from, water loss, because it's going to, prevent the sun from hitting the soil. It's going to encourage soil microbial growth, right? And in addition, here's some of the kits they sell. They have a summer complete kit to do cover cropping, but more importantly, this is the one you really want. They actually have a kit for nematodes. A lot of people may have nematodes in their yard due to the compacted soil, but you know what? The way normal people would deal with nematodes is, oh, I got that chemical, I can spray for nematodes and kill all the nematodes, right? But that's also killing your soil. It's not good for the environment, all the chemical sprays. So you can do this naturally through natural methods that they have specifically formulated certain cultivars of seeds, as well as inoculated seeds with different beneficial microbes, so that now you can basically, outcompete the bad nematodes with good nematodes and actually grow plants that actually discourage nematodes from even being there in the first place, right? This is the more intelligent and the smart way to grow food, by using nature to your advantage instead of working against nature with using chemicals. So I think the last thing I want to do is I want to interview one of the Tree Amigos here at the nursery and learn a little bit more about the nursery here, and get you guys excited about it, so you guys can come down and buy some of these plants that I showed you guys today and start growing your food forest today. All right, guys, so now the pleasure of interviewing John from Tree Amigos Growers. He's one of the owners, one of the three amigos that actually own this place. So the first question I have for you, John, is why did you guys start this nursery here?
So this whole business is really a labor of love from Santiago and Jason. They really started with the whole concept of creating food security. Back, about maybe 12, 13 years ago, they started a separate project where they were growing food for the community. And when that project that land was sold, they realized just how fragile our food systems were. So they started a nursery with the whole concept of, instead of getting people to come to us to provide these vegetables, like kind of CSA style, it's why not get them to feed themselves? Yeah. So this whole thing just really started with that concept of allowing people to become more food independent and more food secure.
Right, yeah, become a producer, right? You could be a consumer, and yes, support your local farms. They are great. I love local farms, right? We have to go and buy the food. But hey, instead of buying the food every week from them, if you buy your plants and plant them once, like some of the ones I showed you, you guys will be eating forever, provided you keep the plants healthy. So yeah, I love your mission, you love your work, because actually that's also why I make my videos for you guys, to empower you guys to become a producer instead of consumer in our consumer-driven society. And like you said, the food security is so important in this day and age. During COVID, I walked into grocery stores and there were no vegetables. I mean, they're the last thing to sell out because everything else sold first, but there's no vegetables you could buy, right? What if trucks stopped shipping, driving into Florida from California, where most of the food in Florida is probably sold, from the West Coast, right? Then you guys aren't eating. You guys aren't eating vegetables. But if you had trees and shrubs growing in your front yard full of food, screw the trucks. You don't even need them, right? You can live a lower carbon footprint because you're now growing your own food and more food secure, right? Without having to depend on somebody else. And of course, you may like some of these crops better than others, right? And those are the ones you want to focus on, because at the store, you are dictated to what you have to eat based on what they have. You can't eat what they don't have because you can't buy it. Here, you could select from anything, and now you could select your favorites. And then that's what you could grow. So another question I have for you, John, is very important. It's not just you guys supply the plants, which are actually very difficult to find in South Florida. Unfortunately, when you go to most plant nurseries, they are selling fruit trees. Hey, fruit trees are great. While they can produce, many fruit trees produce once a year, and then that fruit tree takes up space all year long in your yard. You can't eat the leaves from, maybe a few of them you can, but you wouldn't want to eat them in high quantities, right? It's basically wasting space, where you plant one of the Chaya or one of the other plants I showed you guys, takes up space year round, but every single day of the year, you guys can eat food from it. That's very important. So the question for you is, why did you guys get into perennial vegetables and vegetables that will reseed on their own versus, selling lettuce plants, for example, which is every other nursery, sell you guys like common plants that people would grow more up north?
Yeah, so for us, the whole concept of food forest was something that's always been a part of the whole nursery system for us, or not just nursery, the whole farming system here in South Florida. As you know, we have a very diverse population here, which means, they bring plants, they bring different cultures, different foods from different places, which means more access to different kinds of foods. So for us, we started learning more about like the Caribbean crops, the Southeast Asian crops, the things that do better in our hot climates that maybe, like us here in, more Eurocentric, we're maybe not used to eating, but you could still have a good nutritional, value. My family's South American, from Ecuador specifically, and there's things like yuca, cassava that here Cuban communities also consume it. A lot of the Caribbean and Latin communities, but it's not very popular within the general North American community. So we're trying to introduce new things, get people to kind of grow more adapted to the season and to the time of year, so they can be more successful, so they can actually feed themselves. So the whole concept of making sure that you're growing with the seasons rather than forcing something and having to depend on the existing food systems that are very limited to us. That's what drove us to really go towards these crops that can help feed you and communities. I mean, we work with different organizations that they do exactly that. They feed South Florida communities through these crops. We had someone come in here for Malabar spinach, longevity spinach, the okras, the things that do well here in the heat. So it's really cool to see how South Florida is feeding itself with these newer crops, right? New to us.
Right, yeah. I mean, I think that's very important is, you can kind of like live here and then buy northern crops that are shipped in, right, which everybody does. Or you could even be better because now you could adapt to what grows here. You guys have all adapted to living here. If you guys are from up north, now you guys don't have to live in the snow half the year because you live here in South Florida, right? So you've adapted. Why not buy climate appropriate plants that have also adapted or from around the world that grow in the same climate so that you don't have to stress out over your plants, right? Once again, plant it, have a good, healthy soil system, water it enough, or maybe the rain will water it certain times of the year, and then it just thrives and you're just eating out of your yard. And you've learned new recipes to use these amazing foods and eat, and they're more nutritious than things like lettuce, unfortunately. Actually, they're more nutritious than things like lettuce, which is even icing on the cake. So another thing I want to talk to you about, John, is, besides just the plants, you also sell organic fertilizers and ways to build your soil, including soil that they can be successful from, right? Why did you guys also choose, besides just the nursery plants, which are really rare, also selling some of the best organic soil amendments and compost that I've found here in South Florida? Because you can't just go to Home Depot and buy some of these things that they sell here. They've sourced some special. They brought them in. This is probably one of the only places I've seen some of the things that they're selling here, right? They're actually from Oregon, the company in Oregon that I know and love so well, right? So why did you guys do that? Why is organic so important?
So part of our love for the food is also, and the respect for different cultures, different food, is also respect of the land. And you can't have respect of the land without feeding it what it needs. So if you're not feeding microbial life in the ground, if you're not creating good atmosphere for even fungus to grow on there, we cannot expect to get too much out of that soil. So for us, it just became it's kind of like a natural progression of like maybe our values and our moral kind of standing of making sure that we're being respectful to the things that are around us, in particular the land that gives us so much and it feeds us. So for us to feed it organic food and something that helps create that life in the soil and helps makes things more soluble and helps plants grow greener, bigger, tastier, it's just a no-brainer for us. We want to make sure that we're focusing on that kind of growth rather than on growing things that maybe are chemically induced.
Cool. So, what that brings to my mind is you want to work with nature instead of against it. Of course, there are, whatever container farms here in Florida that basically grow lettuce in a shipping container year round with artificial lights, artificial synthetic nutrients. And yes, you can have your lettuce, and then they also have to use a lot of like burned coal or gas or whatever to basically provide cooling for that lettuce, provide lights because it's inside for the lettuce, right? And then the chemicals to feed the lettuce, right? And chemicals, agriculture to kill weeds and do all these things. or you could work with nature to grow plants like they're selling here that work with nature, that work in this very environment that we're sitting in, that we are today, that you don't have to put up a structure, you don't have to like cool with air conditioners and all these things, right? And then you work with the soil instead of using chemicals. You work with the soil so that the soil becomes better, and actually you're leaving your property even better than you found it. So John, another question I have for you is specifically, what are your favorite 3 crops that you enjoy eating, and how do you eat them?
Oh man,
that you grow here.
That we grow here. So in terms of like just general crops, I mean, I'm a big fan of hot peppers. Like I love growing all kinds of hot peppers. So during this time of year, just peppers in general, things like the ají dulce, which can provide year round, which we typically do carry. Right now we're a little sold out of them, but using those and like some sofritos, it's just really important, not just culturally, but ecologically and sustainably.
Instead of growing bell peppers that make a few bell peppers and then it gets all diseased and stuff, then you don't get nothing anyways, right? You gotta, once again, adapt to the local crops.
Yeah, but like things like the African blue basil, making a really nice pesto out of that, adapting to it in that way. Things like the cranberry hibiscus are also, it's just a really nice, refreshing taste that has more of the nutrition than, like you were saying, a lettuce leaf will ever have. So, those are things you could just go to the back, harvest some, and make yourself a little salad and have a tastier meal. So. Yeah.
Wonderful. So another question is, if somebody wants to come down here, and they're just new here for the first time, do you have staff on hand that could take them and give them a tour of the food for us? They can maybe sample a couple things and see what they're going to like the best, so that they could come in the nursery and then buy them. And then will you instruct them and tell them, hey, this is how you plant that, and this is what you should add to the soil so that you'll be successful? I mean, do you give them guidance besides just selling them the stuff?
Thank you for asking that question, John. Like something that we really pride ourselves on here, and what a lot of people know us for, is that we provide you support. We almost handhold you through those whole step. We explain to you how things work so you can make the decision. We're not here to sell you anything. We're here to just help you make a decision towards your food security future. So whether it's buying the right kind of soil, whether it's or even looking for the right kind of fertilizer that you need for your trees or your plants, we will always explain to you how it works, why you want to use it, but also provide you access to, we do it through WhatsApp. You can message us directly for anything that you purchase here, and we can kind of follow up with you to make sure that you're, if you're a first-time grower, you can learn how to water, learn how to fertilize, learn how to just grow in general. Whether it needs more light or it needs less water, we'll just kind of handhold you a little bit until you get it just right. That way you can become a little bit more independent in your food system.
Wow, it's amazing, because I mean, especially if you go to a big box store, they're not going to hold your hand, guys. They're just going to, I mean, the guys that work there, I mean, yeah, they're all well-to-do, but they may not have all the most, knowledge about growing, specifically like these kind of edible plants, which, they've been doing this for many years now. So all the owners are intimately involved in the business and helping people. And I met with some of the staff today, and they just know their stuff. I was like asking the girl some stuff, and she knew stuff that she taught me today here, which is, pretty rare. So they definitely got a good staff here.
Yeah, we try to train them. Like every time we have a new employee, we try to give them the same tour. We try to encourage them to grow at home. We try to just get them more involved into what we're doing, and a lot of it is just practice. The more you do it, the more you get involved into gardening, the more it's going to become easier for you, but also you're going to get really excited about it. My father, who is someone that next time hopefully you could meet him, he's very, very knowledgeable, but he came into this business a little bit late in his life, maybe about 5 years ago. He's a sponge. He learns everything. He could talk to you about all the microbes in the soil. He could talk to you about a lot of the plants with great detail. But he always says that it just gave him a new lease on life. He sees life in a very different way now that he understands the science behind it. And sometimes it just takes knowing just how powerful and how beautiful plants are for you to get that aha moment to be like, that's why I want to grow things. That's why they need care. That's why we treat them like living things, which they are.
Yeah, so I say, whether you're retired, gardening is an excellent thing to do, because you're going to definitely save money with all the food that you're not going to have to buy that's imported. But here's the thing, guys, even if you have a full-time job, work 40 hours a week, and you're like totally tired after work, I can't deal with my garden, this is the kind of garden you guys want. Why? Because you plant these plants, you take care of them, you plant them once, maybe take a weekend day, plant these plants, put it on an irrigation system that goes off every day. You're gonna walk outside, the bugs won't get some of these plants, and they'll tell you guys which ones are better or worse, because there's some plants that are higher maintenance and some are lesser maintenance. So you can say, I want the least maintenance crop so I can eat it in my front yard by just planting them in and then basically just walking away, getting them enough water, putting the right soil, and then they're just gonna grow. And then even if you don't have time, you just gotta have enough time to go outside every day and harvest the leaves and then cook them up or eat them fresh as a salad, right? It's gonna take you guys less time going out to your front yard, harvesting stuff and making food out of it, than driving all the way to the store, driving all the way back, wasting all that gas, right? So yeah, empower yourselves to grow a garden, whether you're retired or a student. Actually, if you're a student, it's even better to grow, because you guys are like sponges where you want to learn all this stuff. This is the perfect place to do that. So speaking about learning, do you guys have like classes that you guys give on a regular basis so that people could come in here and then, learn about this stuff?
So at this time, we don't have, like a whole schedule for classes, but last year we had a cover crop workshop. So we taught you all the science behind the cover crops, which we're happy to also explain to you in person. But that way you could just get a little bit more immersed to teach you how to create your rows, how to amend your soil, how to seed, how to do the things that are so important for our gardening systems to keep producing year in, year out.
Cool. So can somebody get on an email list, or how do you guys contact customers about your sales and what plants are in season and all this kind of stuff?
Yeah, of course. You can visit our websites. Our website, treeamigosgrowers.com, and that's Tree, Tree Amigos Growers. We have an email list on it that you can subscribe to. You can also follow us on social media, or you can message us on WhatsApp as well to our nursery number here. We could send you things like our annual planting guides to show you what grows during the specific time of year we're at. So that way you can plan ahead if you need to seed, or if you want to just come in for those plants. Typically we have whatever's on that list available here.
Wonderful. So what is your address and what is your phone number for people that want to come down? And then what are your hours? When are you open?
So we're located here in Davie, Florida at 10900 Southwest 48th Street. And we're open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can find us here from Wednesday through Sunday. There are 4 businesses in total here at Natural High Farms, which is the property, and we're Tree Amigos Growers. So come visit us anytime, and there's always someone on staff here that is willing to help and can take the time to get your food garden started.
All right, great, John. So yeah, I'll put the address in the description down below, as well as their website and social media, like the Instagram, which is actually where I found them actually on there, and as well as online. So last question after you, John, is are there any final words of wisdom you'd like to share with all my viewers today before we sign off?
Don't be afraid to get started. I think that's the most difficult part for everyone. They kind of put it off and put it off. Just get started. Don't be afraid to potentially kill a plant. We've killed many plants over the years, sometimes due to disease, sometimes due to neglect. But you learn through everything that you do, and just get started. Whether it's one plant or a small bed, we're here to support you. We're here to help you, and hopefully we leave you with enough knowledge and with enough enthusiasm that you can teach other people to do the same. That's really our goal, to help create more of a movement of people feeding themselves rather than being so dependent.
Wonderful, that's great to hear. Yeah, and I would concur. Basically, you guys want to get started. If you've never grown before, been watching my videos for a couple years, and you live in South Florida, this is the place to come to. Whether I'm driving up to West Palm Beach later, West Palm Beach, you live in somewhere, Miami Beach, wherever, you want to come here. This is probably one of the best places I've ever visited that has the best diversity of plants, and more importantly, like an established food forest, so you can actually see what these baby plants that you're buying in the nursery will look like once they're fully grown, so you can kind of envision, what it's going to look like. Plus, of course, they also provide all the organic nutrients, which is something that a lot of nurseries I visit unfortunately don't do. And even the most important is that they will hold your hand and guide you so that you can be successful. You're going to have the least amount of failure, because if you follow what they say, you will be successful. And don't worry, if you kill a plant, you didn't fail. Guess what? You succeeded in learning how to kill a plant, and you're not going to do that next time. because, you know, once you start killing a lot of plants, like, man, this is getting expensive killing plants, man. I better shape up or I'm gonna have to ship out, all right? So yeah, Tree Amigos Growers, Tree Amigos Growers.com. Once again, we'll pop it up right here. Check them out online. You can see all their available inventory. Come down, visit them. They are so friendly, so nice, and definitely highly recommend this place if you guys live Miami area for all my favorite perennial vegetables, all right? So if you guys enjoyed this episode today, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. More importantly, share this with other people that live here in South Florida so that they can now grow year-round and become food independent, have food security instead of depending on trucks that get shipped all over the country to have imported food, when you guys could grow much better local food, more nutritious in your front yard, backyard, and beyond. Make sure you click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss my new and upcoming episodes of Community 5 to 7 days. You know, to wash up what you'll be learning on my YouTube channel. Make sure you click the little bell so you get notified as many videos come out. And finally, be sure to check out past episodes. Past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 1,700 episodes at this time on this channel dedicated to you guys all about how to grow your own food at home. I'll put a couple links down below to some of my other favorite videos I made here in the Miami area that'll help encourage you guys to garden and show you guys what is truly possible in your amazing climate zone here. So with that, my name is John Kohler with growingyourgreens.com. We'll see you next time, and until then, remember, keep on growing.